Hello and welcome to Drummer's Review. I'm Nolly and today we're looking at a set of Meinl pure alloy cymbals. The new pure alloy cymbals sit in the middle of the Meinl range between the more expensive handmade Byzance range and the slightly cheaper Classic series. Like the now discontinued Soundcaster ranges, these cymbals are made out of B12 bronze and feature machine hammering and lathing. The particular setup we're reviewing today features a pair of 15-inch hi-hats, 20 and 18-inch crashers, and a 22-inch ride. In terms of cost, the two crashers are £200 and £233 for the 18 and 20-inch crashers respectively, while the ride and hats both come in at £278 each. Meinl claim that these cymbals have a bright and modern sound, so let's take more of a listen and come back for some comments. Out of the box, we like that these cymbals have a more traditional finish on the top, and furthermore, we actually think the pure alloy logo is very tastefully done. From a distance, you could be fooled into thinking that they are pro-level hand-hammered cymbals, though as you get up close you can see that consistency and regularity that only machining can create. In terms of the weights, these cymbals all come across as very much middle-of-the-road, medium-weight cymbals. Starting with the hi-hats, we were very pleasantly surprised. They have a decent amount of character to them, and I think in part that's because of that 15-inch size, giving it a bit more beef. But straight away we thought that these are a very pleasant pair of hi-hats that you could certainly use both in studio and live situations. It's also worth noting that they're not the loudest hats out there, which actually tends to be a good thing for most sound men and drummers. The ride cymbal was equally pleasant too. I feel like you can really hear what Meinl are going for here with the modern and clean sound. It's definitely a bright ride, but what that means is you've got a ton of stick definition on the bow. The only real disappointment with this ride cymbal for me was the bell. To me, a more modern sounding ride like this really deserves to have a loud projecting bell with loads of character. This one was just a bit too high pitched and a bit underwhelming overall. It's worth noting too that a smaller sized bell like this requires perfect precision. So on the player end, it's not that satisfying because you have to put so much concentration into making sure you're always hitting the sweet spot. To me, I think the two crashes were the weakest part of this set. I think here those brighter overtones do start to become a bit harsh, and certainly the 18 has an abundance of zingy stuff going on up top that becomes very harsh if you crash on it for an extended period of time. The more full-bodied sound of that 20-inch crash does balance things out, and certainly for accents it's got a nice cut to it where that bright sound is going to help you cut through the mix. However, that 18-inch crash is just a bit too thin for me. It's quite shrill and can almost get painful after a while. I think if I was going to put a label on these cymbals, I would call them fusion-y. Certainly to me, these kinds of modern bright sounds are not going to work for jazz or lighter styles, in my opinion. The pure alloys are certainly not overpriced for what they are, but I do think that at this price point they are firmly in the sights of the used market. In particular, if you did want more modern voiced Meinl cymbals, you could be looking at the brilliant Byzance range and the now discontinued MB20s, both of which deliver a more modern sound with hand hammering. For those of you who specifically do want new cymbals though, the pure alloys certainly present a significant upgrade over most starter cymbal packs and could serve as a good stepping stone on your way to the high-end cymbals out there. So to conclude, we like those 15-inch hats a lot, and the bow of the ride was great too. The 20-inch crash was decent, but the bell on that ride and that 18-inch crash left a bit to be desired. We really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Subscribe and leave us a comment, and I will see you next time at Drummers Review.